In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a team that I didn't think I'd really be talking about this season. However, it is Tottenham Hotspur, and to start this season, Tottenham have been really just playing a lot better than I think a lot of people thought they would, and this really is down to how they've gone about their transfer business and all that. So really, we're used to Tottenham kind of not being a mid-table club, but being borderline Champions League - Europa League contenders, and now this season I think they've really put themselves across as big kind of Champions League contenders. I don't think they're title contenders, not yet. That could come in a couple, maybe 2-3 seasons if they continue going on the trajectory that they are, and if they keep having good transfer windows and maybe bring up a few players from their youth academy. However, I think they've been playing a lot better this season than most people expected, and I know it's only like 6 games into the season. However, this is still a bit of a shock for people, and I think that the way they play and how they've been playing shows more that this isn't really that much of a fluke, and it's kind of like a consistent way that they can play, and that they now have like a system that everyone, not literally everyone, because not everyone in the team will fit into the system perfectly, but they have a system where all of these players can really kind of buy into and play well in. So currently in the season they sit 4th in the league table, and through their first 6 games they've won 4, drew 2, and they haven't lost yet, which for Tottenham I would say is a very, very good start. I mean, winning 4 of your first 6, and they're playing very, very well. So currently they sit behind Brighton and Hove Albion in 3rd, Liverpool in 2nd, and Manchester City in 1st. So they've scored 15 goals and conceded 7, so they're scoring about 2.5 goals a game and they're conceding about 1 a game. So really, compared to everyone else, they are doing pretty well. I think they're like 5th, something like that, 4th, 5th in goals conceded. So their defense is quite consistent, and I think they are about joint 3rd in goals scored. So they're very, very consistent, and the good thing about this is when your defense and your like attack is similar kind of like ranking in the table. So their goal scoring is ranked joint 3rd, and the goals they've conceded I think the 5th least so far. So 3rd and 5th, that's a very, very good it's a very, very good position to be in, because it's like they're consistent, so they're not really relying on just them scoring goals to do well. They can actually stop other teams from scoring as well alongside that, which takes pressure off the attack, and that allows them to play more fluently. So as I said, I think that their transfer business was a big part of why they are playing as well as they are. So going into the transfer window, their sales for the first part of this season, because obviously there's another transfer window in January, they sold Davinson Sanchez to Galatasaray for 12.8 million. Then they sold Harry Winks to Leicester City for 10 million. Lucas Moura ended up going to Sao Paulo for free. And then this was the big sale of their summer. This was the sale that people were a bit, can they play as well without this player? They ended up selling Harry Kane to Bayern Munich for 100 million. So a lot of people really thought that they might not be the same without Harry Kane, because he was such an integral part of the team and he was such a big player. So their buys for this, the first part of this season, were Brennan Johnson from Nottingham Forest for 47.5 million, Pedro Porro from Sporting for 39 million, and he's been a prospect for quite a while. He's a fullback, and I think there's been a few teams that have been interested in him, so that was a good pickup from Tottenham. And next, a player that I hadn't actually heard of, Mickey van de Ven from Wolfsburg for 43 million. Then the player that they've had on loan for a couple of seasons, Dejan Kulusevski from Juventus for 25 million. I think they got him at a bit of a discount price as well, so that's another bonus for Tottenham. They got him at a pretty good deal. He's played, and he has played quite well for Tottenham whilst he's been on loan. And then really the big signing for Tottenham They got James Maddison from Leicester City for 40 million, and he's been, I think, out of the signings, he's really been the star player out of all the players they've bought, and he's really helped Tottenham not fill the void of losing Harry Kane, but he's really helped Tottenham kind of push forward, if that makes any sense. He's helped them fill that void of Harry Kane, but he hasn't directly done it. He's kind of been that playmaker that can help Son fill that Harry Kane void, if that makes any sense, even though they aren't directly filling that void because they're playing differently without Harry Kane. So the big story of the summer for Tottenham was losing Harry Kane, and in losing Kane they lost the club's all-time top goal scorer and the Premier League's second all-time goal scorer. So this is really where I think Tottenham have improved, because I don't think losing Harry Kane was as big of a thing as people really thought it would be, and that's purely because for me it allows them to play differently, and I think that this sale may have helped Tottenham more than people expected. And a few points for this are, it makes them less reliant on one player. So if you look at some teams, when they're reliant on one player, if that player doesn't show up, they really struggle in that game. So just being reliant on one player is never really that good, even though you might have other players that you could be reliant on. They are good enough to kind of carry that team. Tottenham were really just reliant on Harry Kane, and that's how they played. When that's how you play, it doesn't matter if anyone else, you can be reliant on anyone else, because the team isn't built around that. So this also makes Tottenham less predictable if they can rely on multiple other players, and the team is really built around several players instead of just maybe one or two, because I don't think it was solely built around Harry Kane, but the main premise was get Harry Kane the ball. You know, he was scoring like 30 goals a season. That doesn't necessarily mean they're relying on him, but I think that's how Tottenham were built, because it was kind of just get Harry Kane the ball type thing. So making them less predictable will give them a lot more options as well, because different players will have different skill sets, and with those different skill sets they will be able to attack really in different ways, which makes it a nuisance to defend against. And then if those certain players are kind of shut down, it will leave other players open and give other players chances that might not necessarily get chances, because you're not kind of just pushing the ball to one player. And I think another big thing is it allows you to play more as a team as well, because if you're just targeting to try and get the ball to one player, it's like you're not really getting the ball around. It's kind of like whoever has the ball, let's see how we can get it to our main player. So really, I think Tottenham have kind of been able to play more fluently and play more open, obviously giving other players chances to get in the game as well, because obviously when there's one or two major players really don't have a good game, the other players that could step up haven't really had chance to, so they're kind of thrown into the deep end. And I think the big kind of main point here is it allows other players to take centre stage as well, and it can allow multiple players to take centre stage. So the two big ones for me are, as I've mentioned, James Maddison. I think he's really come in and started playing well for Tottenham. I think he's really kind of come in and not necessarily done better than people thought, but I think he's kind of stepped up in a way that really does help Tottenham, and he's really kind of helped push Tottenham forward. He's not like the sole reason, because there's multiple players in this team who've really helped that. And the other main player that I think really has stepped up as well and has really taken kind of that spotlight is Heung-min Son. So he was kind of really the player that took a back seat to Harry Kane, and now that Harry Kane's gone, he's really come out and he's really starting to shine, and I think he will be seen now as a better player than he was when Harry Kane was there. Not saying that Harry Kane's a bad player or anything, but I think that selling him has really opened up more for Tottenham, and it's allowed them to play in different ways as well, because with Kane they could only really play in one, maybe two ways. Now they can play in several different ways because they've got a lot of players that can make an impact in the game, and obviously I've only just mentioned two there, but they have more players like that. So this season I think could be a breakout season for Tottenham. Maybe they might not continue this, they might start to struggle at some point, but then again, I think that wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if they will carry this on this really good blistering form. However, I do think that this team has a lot of potential, and maybe next season they could have a breakout season. That wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I think it will be interesting to see how well Tottenham do now, and to see if they can keep this up and see how this team gels. So that's kind of my viewpoint on Tottenham. Probably a very, very early analysis of Tottenham, if you want to call it an analysis, based off what they did in the transfer window and how well they've done in the first month or two of the Premier League season. So let me know what you think about Tottenham at the moment down in the comments. Do you think they're a team with a lot of potential? Do you think this is just a good run they're on and it won't last and they'll turn into the Tottenham of old? Leave all that down in the comments. If you agree with me or you like videos like this, leave a like so I know to do more stuff like this in the future. And thank you for listening, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.